Moms, I used to buy the wrong toy for all my autistic patients a long time ago. I would be walking through Target and see a cool toy and think, oh, this patient's gonna love this. I would buy it, I would take it to my office, I would show it to my patient just to find out that, yeah, they could care less. They wouldn't even touch it or look at it. And of course, I felt frustrated because I would think to myself, did I just wasted money? Or now I need to make time so I can go back to Target and return the toy. And I also realized that I was not alone in this. Many moms I work for reported the same thing. They will buy a new toy thinking the kid will love it just to find out the same thing. They could care less about it. And that's why I'm making this video, because I really want to share with you the one concept that helped me choose the right toy with all my autistic patients. I know this is not about buying a new toy every single day. I'm mindful with my money, and I know you are too, so it's not about that. But as a therapist, I know if you pick the right toy, to target one specific goal, it makes learning so much easier. And kids do learn faster while having fun. By the way, I'm Sergio. I'm an occupational therapist who has been working with autistic kids for 9 years. I have a private practice together with my wife, who's a speech therapist. And my goal is to combine research and creativity so I can teach autistic kids to be as independent as possible. And look, I like to test different strategies during my therapy sessions, and I like to share what works and what doesn't work during my sessions with you, mom, watching this video. That way you can save time and money for your family. Now, here's the one concept that I wanted to share with you that helped me choose the right toy for all my autistic patients. Every kid has two different ages. They have a birthday age and they have a brain age. So, birthday age is basically how many candles do we have on a cake? If your child is turning 5, we see 5 candles. And then we have the brain age. This tells us how they're learning and how are they thinking. Now, before we move on, I do want to address this question because I have this question with many of the families that I work with, which is, Sergio, what happens if my child's brain age is less than the birthday age? Does this mean that they cannot learn? And the answer to that is absolutely not. Every kid has the ability to learn something new. There's research to prove it, and I see it every day with my kids. But to be successful at this, we do need to explain things at their level. So here's one thing I learned the hard way. If I didn't do a good job at choosing the right toy or the right game for my autistic patients based on their brain age, they would either ignore me because my games were too easy, or they would have huge emotions because my games or toys were too hard. But when I learned to match the right toy based on their brain age, everything got a lot easier. They were engaging a lot more in therapy and they were making faster progress as well. That's when I started targeting harder skills like picky eating, impulse control, and teaching them how to manage their emotions. So in this video, I really want to explain all of this in a very simple way. Brain ages are grouped into 4 stages. And don't worry, I'll make it super easy, no fancy words or anything like that. We're going to walk through today how to figure out on what brain stage is your child in right now, so that we can choose the right toy or the right game for them right now. And then how do we stretch their brain so they can go to the next stage? Because this would mean that they are learning and they're making progress. So most kids follow Piaget's 4 stages of development. He's a psychologist who studies how kids learn and think. And by the way, some kids do take longer in some stages, and that's okay, as long as we are helping them and teaching them how to get to the next stage. Also, as we go through all 4 stages, please let me know what stage is your child learning in right now. All right, let's start. Stage number 1, cause and effect. Your child might be in this stage if they love closing, opening doors, spinning around, throwing things, dropping things, banging toys. Their entire learning process in this stage is moving their body all day, at all times, repeating the same games over and over and over again, and exploring their environment through their senses. That's why they'll bring toys to their mouth, get closer to the light up toys, and grabbing things that they shouldn't be reaching for. Our main goal in this stage is to increase their attention, the connection with us, and help them realize that yes, if you move your body, you have an effect on other things. So let's review the toys and games that are appropriate on this stage. And by the way, I'll add some of the links to the toys that I might suggest in the description of this video. At this stage, I like to consider pop-up toys, musical toys, light-up toys, because all of these games help them build the concept of if I do this, something else happens. I also like playing peekaboo games or hide and seek with my patients because it teaches them something known as object permanence, meaning even if I don't see something, I know it's there. I also love considering a lot of sensory bins. Again, just be aware of choking hazards. But I do love using sensory bins because, again, on this stage, they're using all of their senses to explore their environment. Now, those are just suggestions that are appropriate for this stage. Doesn't mean that I'm teaching them something new. But in order to teach them something new, here are some ideas. Let's say we're using a pop-up toy, and instead of just using the same cause and effect of just popping it, let's add a countdown. For example, 3, 2, 1, pop, and you pop it. That way, we can start teaching them impulse control. Also, if I'm playing peekaboo with my patients, I will be moving around my office. That way, we can increase their attention and connection with me. And if I'm using a sensory bin, I'm giving them tools. I'm giving them a spoon or a cup because I want them to learn that yes, they have an effect on their environment, but you can also use tools to get what they want. And on top of that, you can add small stories to your games. That way, we can start exposing your child into imaginary play, which is the next stage. Stage 2, we have the magical thinkers. Now, your child is on this stage if they love to build a castle with Amazon boxes, they love talking to their stuffed animal, or if they love asking why questions 1,000 times a day. Their brain is full of creativity, but not logical thinking though. It's all imaginary, and I'll explain in a second. They love pretend play ideas. They love kitchen sets, playing with dolls, and playing superheroes. They might also repeat their favorite phrases from a movie or a cartoon they love. And they also think that because they like something, everyone else loves it. Our main goal on this stage is to expand their imagination, their language, and their social skills. Now, quick heads up. If you have a magical thinker and they say something like, Mom, Dad, there's a monster under my bed, I cannot go back to sleep. Your first thought will be, well, let me explain to them in a logical way that monsters do not exist. But as I mentioned earlier, they're not logical thinkers yet. We need to explain things at their level, and that means with magical thinking or storytelling, in other words. So instead of giving them a logical explanation, you can say something like, well, let's get a magical sword and a magical shield so we can put it next to your bed. That way, this protects you from any monster. And this type of explanation is only for this stage. Doesn't mean that they're not going to understand that monsters are not real, but we have to give them time. So that was kind of like a segue, but I think it's very important for this stage because it helps a lot. So let's move on. So what toys and games are appropriate at this stage? Anything that involves dressing up or anything that involves like a kitchen set, because this is where we combine storytelling with also teaching them our daily routines. Also, on this stage, I love using anything that involves small world storytelling. This is where we make animals talk or action figures fight. And this is how we help them expand their language and teach them also about emotions. And lastly, it is appropriate at this stage to use simple board games that have like one rule, like Candyland or Eating My Spaghetti, because it's at this stage that they're also learning about simple turn taking. So those are the games that are appropriate at this stage. Now let's go over what can we do to take them to the next stage. During your pretend play games, add a problem. For example, oh no, your superhero lost their powers. Like, what are they going to do now? You can also start asking them what if questions. For example, what if a cat could fly all the way into space? They will probably have to come with some logical explanation of what would happen, like maybe they need a spacesuit. And if not, that's okay. You can just give them the answer. And if you decide to do a simple board game, like I explained earlier, that involves one simple rule, you can add an extra rule. And it typically involves something funny like, oh, we're gonna make a silly sound every time it's my turn. That way we can expand how many rules they can remember. Now we're in stage 3 where we have the rule following brain. On this stage, your child is obsessed with fairness and with rules, and they moved on from thinking about the world in a magical way to a more logical way. They love to play any game that involves rules. They can follow multiple step sequences. They're learning about categories and numbers and time. And our main goal on this stage is to teach them about how to work with other kids, expand their logical thinking, and teach them about emotional flexibility. So here are some toys and games that I like to do with kids that are on this stage. We can do board games, but not as simple as the ones that we were doing with the magical thinkers. On this type of board games, we have like more rules. Think about Connect 4, Uno, Guess Who. They also love a good challenge with constraints. For example, I will tell my patients like build a bridge with the Lego pieces that can hold 10 cars. They love challenges like that. I'm also a big fan to tell parents like give them a recipe to do at home. They will love to measure food, cut food, and follow a recipe. Now, those are the easy games that they should be doing more or less at this stage. But now, how do we take them to the next stage? Let's use the game that I just mentioned where I ask a patient to build a Lego bridge that can hold 10 cars. Well, to that, I could add a time constraint, like you only have 10 minutes to come up with the best bridge. That's one idea. If you decide to involve your kid on a recipe, then you can ask them like, oh, we're missing that ingredient. What else could we use? And lastly, we can teach them about social dilemmas that do not have a clear answer or like a yes or no answer. For example, on the previous stage where we had the magical thinkers, you might ask them like, is it okay to eat candy before dinner? And they might just say yes or no. That's it, black or white. But on this stage, the logical thinkers are thinking about the context. Like, what time is it? Are we at a birthday party? Because it is true. The answer to that question is it depends. Now, the last stage, stage number 4, we have the abstract thinkers. Now, your child is probably here if they love sarcasm and jokes, and they just come up with random inventions throughout their day. And at this stage, they are basically deep thinkers, where they'll start learning about planning for the long term. This is where kids start asking a little bit more philosophical questions, questions about religion, and they can problem solve different outcomes based on one decision. And it's on this stage that we are helping them how to navigate those philosophical questions and have a deeper understanding of their moral development. And some of the best toys or games that you can do with them is trying more complex board games. We're talking about chess, Risk, or Ticket to Ride. And you can also ask them a lot of would you rather questions at this stage. For example, would you rather have unlimited money or unlimited time? Because it starts building their reasoning and empathy. Now, here's my recommendation if you're watching this. Identify on what stage is your child in right now. Pick a toy or a game that they will love based on this stage. Add one challenge to this game or toy so that we can slowly take them to the next stage. And play this game 3 times a week. It doesn't have to be for long, just 10 minutes. I really hope this video helped. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow.